Hello.
Hey, Peter. Lewis Perkins.
Hi, Lewis. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you today?
Good, thanks.
Well, thank you for agreeing to chat with me today.
Sure.
And I was excited when I saw that you were going to be coming to Atlanta on Sunday because I was aware of the work that you had been doing with Girl Effect and through the NoVo Foundation, and was truly inspired by that work. But also, I wanted to give you a little background on the site. For me, it was really getting to know the work of Eve Ensler and not only the Vagina Monologues, but her work around global violence issues for women, that I was able to really see some of the issues of oppression that exist for women in the world today. And it was really through our mutual friend, Pat Mitchell, and through Jane Fonda that Eve started coming to the Atlanta community and doing events and participating and really educating a lot of us around issues that exist for women in the world today. All three of those women have really influenced me in the creation of this website.
How great.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, they're the women you just mentioned, sort of a force to be reckoned with. I mean, after you spend enough time with any of them, you want to go out and do something meaningful, that's for sure.
Well, I completely agree. And so when the Dalai Lama said last fall that the world would be saved by the Western woman, I thought, well, I certainly know three in particular, if not many, many, many more, readily available that are doing the work. And so for me, it's not just about the Western woman, it's about women as a whole, and it's also about certain qualities and characteristics that men have too, that we are looking to develop that perhaps have also been suppressed in us. And those characteristics may traditionally be referred to as feminine, but they're needed in the world today as we really solve social and environmental issues. And so that was the impetus for me to get engaged in this conversation.
All you have to do is open your eyes, really, and it's happening. So,
Absolutely.
But then to take the next step and say, okay, I want to amplify it somehow and make sure more people hear, and feel what I've been hearing and feeling. And so it's just great that you're doing it.
Well, thank you. And I hope to, really intend to continue the work on a larger scale. What we need next is to really connect people to projects so that they can begin to hear the storytelling about women changing the world, but then engage in the work in whatever way they can.
Fantastic, because that's what you learn is that you can, once you shine a light somewhere and people get activated, you got to give them tools. Otherwise, you've lost then you almost haven't done anything in a way without giving them that next step of, now what do I do? So that's fantastic.
Absolutely. The first question I had is how are you and Jennifer how are you pulled to the focus of women and girls for the foundation? How did that become sort of the lead focus?
Well, we really, when my dad did his, what I call the Big Bang in 2006 and decided that now was the time he was going to give all his money away, which is something we always knew he was going to do, but we didn't know it was going to happen when he was alive and that we'd be so involved, we meaning my siblings and myself. When he did that, Jennifer and I knew, obviously, as did my siblings, that we had to really get serious about this and think through how we were going to work in the world. And so we spent a couple of years from that point really listening and learning. We happened to be living in New York, and it was a great opportunity to listen to a lot of, what we call thought leaders on the subject of philanthropy, really. Givers and getters, how people are thinking about putting the money out in the world and how people who get it kind of think about how it's given to them and what they do with it. And so after a couple of years, it just seemed obvious. I mean, first of all, we were always big believers, that's not quite the right word, but we certainly could see that the world was out of balance. I mean, it was so clear to us, my working with American Indians and our understanding of the systems at work, it just felt that we'd been under thousands of years of kind of a top-down hierarchical power dynamic that didn't seem to work for most of the people in the world. Which of course made philanthropy necessary in a lot of situations. And so the idea of this imbalance And the idea that it skewed heavily towards what you might consider to be male-oriented behavior kind of started to lead us to the things you just were mentioning in terms of collaboration and partnership and nurturing, these things that you might consider to be feminine qualities. So it was kind of a systemic thing, as well as the very specifics that everybody I talked to, and this is before 2006 too, this is way back, when they would talk about supporting programs in any way, it would always get back to when you give it to the women, when you give it to the girls, it's just way more efficient use and necessary, really, to see your dollars get put into the places and have the effect that you hope that they would have. So in other words, girls and women were just the most effective agents of change. You know, they would put it back into themselves and their family and their community and on and on. And so it became very clear that girls and women were going to be the catalyst here on both the very specific individual application of the dollars and also with the larger systemic shift that we were hoping we could be a little bit of a part of.
That's great. And I kind of see two issues here. One, which is ending a lot of the violence and issues around suppressing women globally is one issue. But then once you empower women and you move beyond sort of the human rights and equality issues, we're not just talking about bringing the equal playing field, but there's actually qualities that women and girls lead with that are gifts to men as well that we need to learn from today. Do you think that's an accurate statement?
Absolutely, and I think it's in men. I think it's just been sort of bred out of us, but I don't think it doesn't exist. I shouldn't say out of us, but kind of been put on the back burner. So I think it really is something where women can help us relearn things we knew, just like women will have the qualities of men. It's really about balancing it out and recognizing that there's value in all of our natures, and not thinking that we have to be a certain way to act in the world. And so yes, I do think ultimately women can really remind us of the qualities that work best in so many situations.
Yes, I agree too, and it makes me think of some indigenous wisdoms really around sort of the innate qualities and characteristics of humans are not limited to two genders, and that they're all born and gifted with many qualities of which, as you said, we need to be reminded.
Yeah, I mean, we embody them both, and it just so happens that around the age of 4, 5, and 6, men are told to act like a man, and then that's defined as what that is. Don't cry, don't do this, and do this and do that, and so it starts to just get shifted. But when we pop into the world, we've got all those qualities, and then it's the world itself that starts to shape us into gender roles that I think are a little bit outdated.
Mm-hmm. Yes.